Okay, so I am back. As you can see, I have developed just a little bit, so I can try to get some people. Um, I have successfully done two of the three industries to kind of show you what they're like, but for some reason this map generated a bunch of capitalists, and they like to buy things, but they don't like to do industry. You'll actually see that that's actually a real mechanic. Some of the maps have different like biomes or different people that live in them, and so they have different desires. And so the desire of this one is to literally just gluttonize. So they literally just want a lot more houses and a lot more commercial zone. So coming up with some industry was actually kind of difficult. But as you'll see, these are some of the industrial zones. This is a farmed area. So remember, I first painted the district, which created it, and then I used this next tool to give it the industry that I wanted. This is really helpful early game because, like I said, the farming industry along with the forestry industry allow you to create industrial zone without pollution. Something else to note. Over here, I kind of tried to do a little example of like a fun little farm town with a farm road. However, this reminded me whenever you plant trees through the landscaping tool, you can actually interfere with the natural resources, and unfortunately, you can never get them back. So be careful if you're placing trees or different decorations that might like sap out the nutrients, because boom, you just lost farmland right there because I put down a couple trees. Same thing happens over here if you start deleting trees, I believe. It's very subtle. You see how it's kind of moving now? It's very subtle, but it does eventually disappear and get lower. Good news is it looks like some of this ore stuff's now coming up. So we'll get to see that here in a second. I don't know why it took so long. Alright, so here's the farming stuff. This is just some of the basic things. I don't know what it'll look like on yours. I think you'll have some pretty similar stuff, but as you can see, this is a little farm field. It has 12 workers, and that's what it looks like. It's not a lot of grid space either. That's like really low grid space for that many workers. Um, and then you can see over here, you actually can get some farm animals. And of course, if you don't like the way something looks, you can always just delete it. Just delete it, and then it'll come up with a new asset to fill in. And that can be annoying, and yes, it makes your citizens unhappy sometimes, but honestly, you want a city that you like to look at sometimes. Okay, so there's that. Alright, the forestry. Same thing. Won't pollute your land, and it'll create different industries. So like this right here is literally just them tree farming, which is really cool. Because whenever you get a bunch of these and you like delete these different buildings, you can get like an entire tree line, and it looks really cool. And it's really thick, and there's a lot of like cars and stuff that'll drive in and out, and it'll look like a cool forested area. But yeah, same thing, no different. Make your district, paint it. Now you might be wondering, what's the benefit to having different districts? Well, the benefit to having different districts is different policies, and if you buy DLCs, you'll see you can actually select different things for different areas. So for example, you'll notice these buildings are just slightly different. That's because they are self-sufficient buildings because of a DLC that I purchased. Um, and these buildings produce less tax income, but they also don't take as much electricity or water. Plus, they look cool and they have like green roofs, like as if they were growing stuff on top. And they'll keep leveling up and they'll look cool and they'll do different things. All right, the last area, same over here. These are some specialized buildings as well. These are the IT buildings, and you see it's like a giant skyscraper. Um, that's a different specialization. Broad. Broad Hills has a bunch of IT, so just keep that in mind. Okay, here's an example of a different industry. This is the mining industry, as you can tell, sucks up the ore and creates a bunch of pollution, but you get a lot more tax income because it's just more people, more jobs, whatever, and it's more expensive, better stuff. The downside though, so you saw trees and you saw farmland. The downside to different stuff like ore, this blue stuff here, ore, and then oil, which you actually, I don't think there is any oil on this map, which it would be indicated by black. But the downside is ore and oil are a limited resource. So as time goes on, this limited resource that you see here is going to dissipate, and this industry isn't going to be producing ore anymore, which means you'll have to delete all of the buildings and repurpose them. Whereas the forestry, and then also the forestry and then the farming, that is self-sustaining and it will last forever. And so yeah, that is the district and zoning benefit. Oh, real quickly, another thing. If you click on the place, you can change the policies. And then you'll have a lot of these, maybe not all of them, but make sure you always legalize recreational use of weed. It's kind of racist that this dude has dreadlocks, but that's just me. Alrighty. That should be it.